Hello everyone, welcome back to Lindsay's Builds, the old mad dog, yeah. So we thought we'd carry on with the Castigator and we'll do a bit more to it. So we'll go down cam. Here we go. So I'll bring this down. So, let's just see where we left off, shall we? Can't remember where we left off. Okay, so I might do those bits in white. Sprue and Glue in, it says hi Lindsay and Chuck. Hello there Mr. Spruzy. How you doing mate? You were about early this morning, Sprue. Yeah, we got that Mr. Panzer Cat in, and also we got Mr. Mark's Mods in. Panzer says hi Lindsay. Hi everyone. So we're going to. Dog's giving it large. It's been quiet all morning, kind of. Till I go live. Okay, Panzer says hi Sprue. Apple says hello, it's a black tank. Morning Sprue and Lindsay and the Buddy Tat. That's from our Apple, welcome in. Panzer says hi Mark. Mark says hello Sprue and Panzer. Sprue and Grew says normal time, laughing his head off, yeah. The Panzer says Apple. Apple says hi Mark. Matt's Mod says hello Apple. So Matt's Mod says hello Apple. Panzer says, so was Santa generous? Well, yeah, kind of. Kind of. Is a bit too big. Apple says Saboteur? Who? Not even Rudolph, and the gang left me a dung for my roses. Mark's Mod says it was nice you doing a live in the PPM group. We got to see members I have not seen before. Yeah. Scott's Model says good day everywhere. Good day Scott. Sprue and Glue says his bloody deer emptied the bird feeder. Mark's Mod says hello Scott. Pants Cat says good day, Scott. Apple says hi there, Skippy. And we got Sivor in. He says, I am turtling. Can I drop it off at the pool or will I miss something essential? Turtling. Never heard it said. I've never heard that saying before. Apple says hi Sivor. Panther Cat says hi Sivor. Mark's Mod says hello Sivor. Sybil says, Bantu, you're a bad mama jamma. He's a bad, bad boy. So, I hope you've all had a good Christmas. It's been a quiet one for me. But that's how I like it. Nice and quiet. Siva says, oh hi Mark, didn't see you there flexing your mod might. Panther says turtling is one stage short of touching cloth, and if you're touching cloth then it's way too late. He also says it's completely innocent. I have been on my best behaviour over the festive period. Bottling it all up though, aren't you? Getting ready to let it all go. Siva says, why does such a channel need mods? Do you swamped with young chicks trying to get hold of your miniature? Yeah, we have to be careful, you see, in case I get swamped. Can never get enough of my miniatures. Little groupies. Panther says, of course, Santa's been and left me some prezzies, so now it's back to instigating chief role. Siver says, I am biting down on a stick trying to keep the bugger in. I don't want to miss the chat. Mark's mod says, I'm more than just a mod. I work hard for no pay, but then I am Lindsay's right hand man. Exactly. He does it for the love, don't you, Mark? Siver says, I paint a dozen goblin wolf chariots and they just won't end. Ew. Rather you than me. Got much of a steady hand today. Siver says painting. Mark's mod says I will get my reward when I pick up my mallard. You certainly will. Panzercat says I am eating cheese and crackers and I hope they won't end. Mark's mod says, I do it because you deserve it, Lindsay, plus I have managed to improve your channel this last year. You certainly have. It's come a long way. It's been sheer hard work on both accounts, mine and Mark's. Just put an update out this morning on the Graf Zeppelin, so if anybody wants to watch it, it's only a 3.5 minute video. Siva says, I need a large, fully staffed sweet shop to work on my painting backlog. Panzer says, Mark appears confused. It's not choking your duck. Quack, quack. Go on then, get up. So I'm talking to my dog. Things being a pain in the rear end just lately. Too boring. I'll catch up with the chat in a minute if I can remember where I am. We've got Jeff and Maggie in. Welcome in, Jeff and Maggie. And says, a very good afternoon, guys. Afternoon to you two. Panzer says, hi, Jeff and Maggie. Mark's Mod says, hello, Jeff and Maggie. Panzer says, so has anyone got anything planned for tomorrow evening? Not me, no. I'm just going to sit and vegetate. I don't celebrate New Year. I think it's all a load of bull. Mark Smods says, not really any plans apart from watching the fireworks at midnight, says Mark. Jaff and Light says, nothing planned as such, we'll be winging it. I'll probably be at my bench. No, I will. Panzer says, certainly not as important as it was when I was younger. Nope. New Year's Eve is for teens and kids and young adults, so they can make their silly New Year's resolutions. Dorker's in. Hello there, Dorker. He says, well, unfortunately I'm awake, so hello everyone. Hello there, Dorker. Hope you got your coffee and pants on. Panzer Cat says, hi, Dorker. Panzer says, hi, Dorker. Apple says, morning, Dorker. Feeling any better today? Max Mod says, hi, Dorker. Jeff Light says, hi, Dorker. Did Dorker have a hangover? Dawkins says, nope and nope, I have been awake long enough. Jeff Light says, hi, Apple. That's the first coat on that side. So what are your plans today, guys, besides watching me? I don't think there's anybody else on. Not that I know, anyway. Panzer says it's no pants Tuesday in the Dorker household. Panzer says my plans are to chill before streaming later tonight. Ew. Nice. Oh yeah, of course it's prime time, isn't it? Don't forget there is no ppm this week. Not till the 7th. I think 7th is a Wednesday. Fit in a cat nap. Make sure you don't fall in the litter tray. Panzercat says, I noticed a fixation on 7. On 7? 7 and 9 you mean, dear. Apple says, morning Jeff and Maggie. No, it was absolute garbage on TV for Christmas. Absolute garbage. And the BBC wondered why their ratings were down. So, what's in your belly? What's your choice of beverage? And what's on bench, if you are on bench? Mine is a bowl of Weetabix and 2 rounds of toast with the stuffing and chicken. I was washed down with a beverage, which was tea. And you know what I've got on the bench, which is the Castigator. So what about you guys? Jeff Light says it was their lowest ever ratings. You see, keep putting garbage on that nobody wants to watch anymore. Mark's Mod says didn't watch TV this year, mainly just streaming stuff, better selection on YouTube. Panzer says yes, it's the worst festive telly ever. The highest rated programme was 7 million viewers, was the King's Speech. Really? Apple says roast pork in a bap with Coleman's mustard and coffee, bench in hibernation till spring. Mark says belly nothing, bench nothing, as I am downstairs on my phone. Beverage is tea. You pay all that money for a TV licence to watch all that garbage. Panzer says belly, cheese and crackers washed down with coffee, bench upstairs waiting patiently for myself. Big, it's big. The Benzer is big. Panzer says, but the best is yet to happen. All the Christmas Day garbage is repeated for New Year's Day. Yeah, that don't surprise me, mate. I won't be watching nothing. Apple says, as long as one does not watch live TV, then one does not require a TV license, which is why I don't use a TV for what it's meant for. That's Apple. I think they've got a cheek, actually. People don't really watch TV anymore anyway. It's all YouTube and gaming and the BBC are well behind the times. That's the problem. They don't move forward. They'll be putting up your TV licenses after Trump sues them anyway. Bit of luck, they might go bankrupt. Panzercat says, this is why Santa always brings me DVDs. You still watch DVDs? Saying that, I've still got my DVD player and it still works too. It's been a while since I've watched a DVD. I've also got my VHS video recorder as well. That still works as well. I've only got a few VHS tapes now, and that's all my war films, my old war films. I've got a DVD box set of the Pacific. That series. I've never even watched them yet. I've had them about 10 years or more, I think. Never got around to watching them. I think I might have a binge one day. I think there's about 5 or 6 DVDs in the box set, I think. It's set in the Second World War, isn't it? Okay. Chat's running away here. Let me just catch up. Okay, Panzercat says the reason people watch streams and play games is because the festive telly is terrible. Mark says hi one and all. Hello there, Mark's Hobbies, welcome in. Mark's Mod says hope Trump suing them makes them go bankrupt finally. He also says hello other Mark. Mark's Hobbies says hi Mark. Mark's Mod says I still have a DVD player and over 300 DVDs. Yoo-hoo. Nice. Panzercat says hi other Mark. Mark's Hobbies says hi Panzer. Jeff Light says belly was bacon, egg, butties. Loads of tea, coffee, mugs and soup later. Ooh, egg butties, you can't beat that. Okay, we've got static modelling mayhem in. And it says coffee and ciggies, breakfast of champions here. Welcome in. Panzercat says I have a couple of DVD players and a lot of DVDs. Apple says I have over 200 DVDs to sell and another 100 sentimental DVDs as I still watch. Static says looking good sofa. Static says so far. Panzercat says hi Static. Static says hi Panzer. Jeff Light says Mark's Hobbies. Apple says hi Static. Mark's Hobbies says hi Jeff. Panzer says the Pacific is a good series. I say I've never ever watched them yet. They're still sitting in the box, in the wrap, in the seal. Static says hi Apple. Mark's Hobbies says hello Static. Static says hi Mark's Mods. Jeff Light says hi Static. Apple says hello Mark's Hobbies. Static says hi Jeff. Mark's Hobbies says hi Apple. That's chat caught up with. Anybody seen anything of David Markey? Not seen him about for a few days. He's normally about. Hope he's alright. Mark's Hobby says hi Apple. Static says hi Jeff. Okay. Mark Sobby says hi Apple. Apple says Pacific is pretty horrific but a great view on the United States Marine Corps in World War II, Apple says. Panzer says David M was around. I believe he's hiding behind a mountain of mincemeat pies. Static says let me see those thumbs up. Go on guys, put your thumbs up. And he also says 9 out of 17. Come on now. Yeah. Let's see some serious thumbs up today, guys. I do take time out of my day to come on YouTube. Dorcas says, guess I'm not going back to sleep. I need coffee and some pain pills. Gonna pop the pills. Touch that red up now. Paint's run down in it. Dorcas says, no, Jeff Light says, hi David M. Was in Graham's stream on Sunday, if memory serves me right. Mark's Mod says, oh, that's the Peterborough Plastic Modelling Route PPM link. So if anybody wants to join that, they can. Just send a request. Apple says, correct Jeff, him and Maggie scored well on the quiz. Ooh, nice. Dorcas says, yeah, my neck hurts, my back hurts, and I have less than 4 hours sleep and I've been fighting a cold for a week. Ooh, not good, not good. white is a terrible colour to try and paint. So come on guys, get those thumbs up. Maybe not be exciting, but we do try. Okay, Panzer says, this is what happens, Dorker, if you insist on wearing no pants. It gets a bit drafty. Static says, try putting a drop of satin varnish in white to take away the chalkness. Try putting a drop of satin varnish in white to take away from the chalkness. Yeah, cool. I might do that on the last two coats, Static. Static says, not really fond of Sisters of Battle, but I do love my Votans. Apple says the solution to one of those problems can be rectified with a bottle of JB, every blanket you own, and you bed to sweat the bugs out. Graham Ball's in. Welcome in, Graham Ball. He says, good afternoon all. Panzer says, hi Graham. Jeff Light says, hi Graham. Yeah, I'll try that on the last two coats, Static. Graham Ball says, hi Panzer. Graham Ball says, wait a minute. Okay, I'll take it from here. Panzer says, hi Graham. So does Jeff. So does, and Graham Ball says, hi Panzer. Static says, hi Graham. Mark's Mod says, ordered my new resin printer yesterday. It does print in 14K. If anybody needs anything printing, let me know and I'll see what I can do. There you go. Mark's Mod says, hello Graham. Graham Ball says, hi Jeff. He also says, hi Mark. Apple says, Gerbil, good day to you. Graham says, hi Apple. Panzer says, Mark, I need some £50 notes printed. You did ask, Mark. Jeff Light says, don't we all, Panzer. Graham Ball says, hi Static. Static says, Mark, I'm currently building a Kirov in 1/350 scale. This kit's antenna mounts and trusses are horrible. Take it that's a plane you're talking about. Or is it a ship? Sounds kind of Russian to me. Kirov. Very, very Russian. Catch up with the chat in a minute. Static said, could you try and make something? I've got a lot of photo refs for them. Mark's Mod says, I will try and take a look. Static says it's a ship, rather a big one, 75 centimetres in length. Static also says, Mark's Mods, thanks in advance. Stalker says, I've got the cockpit for the AH-1Z Viper, ready for primer and paint. Ooh, cool. Static says, if you Google Kirov class battle cruiser, you'll see the little monster that I am fighting. Don't know where my phone is. Hang on. I've got to take a look. Got to take a look. Just bear with me. Oh, I say, she is a big girl, isn't she? Definitely a big girl. Yeah, Soviet Navy, nuclear powered. Nice. She's definitely a big girl. Very nice. Very nice indeed. Okay. Let's catch this chat. Okay, Static says, Dorka ref good. Mark's Hobby says, part trades Mark. Right, let's get back on it. It's not taking long to dry out this actually. If I remember rightly, I have to put about 6 or 7 coats of this white on these. Each coat goes on, the better it gets. Yeah, I bought two new ships myself. Well, one is a ship and the other one's another aircraft carrier. I'm still waiting for the ship to turn up. The aircraft carrier is here. The aircraft carrier is American. don't normally build American stuff, but I did quite like the look of her, and she is World War II, and she served in Vietnam too. She had 5 battle stars for World War II and 12 for Vietnam. Static says she is indeed. Mark's Mod says I will look into that. Mark's Hobby says thanks. Static says I don't have the patience to build an aircraft carrier really. Too many aircraft to build and paint. It's not actually the planes that do your head in. It's when you're stupid enough to buy all these upgrade sets, and yeah. I don't mind building the little planes and stuff. I find them quite therapeutic, to be honest. I made quite a lot when I did the HMS Ark Royal. I bought extra planes for that one, so she had a full complement. Dorcas says I've been on the USS Alabama and Georgetown, one battleship in one aircraft carrier. We've got Captain Charlie Main. I'll just call him Captain Charlie. Well, Captain Charlie in, and he says hi all, welcoming Captain Charlie. Dorcas says hi Captain. Mark's Mod says hello Captain. Jeff Light says I fancy building the new 1700 HMS Queen Elizabeth. If you wait a few more months towards the end of the year, next year, the 1350 will be out. We've got Fionn in. He says stopping in for a moment to wish all a happy and safe new year. See you in 2026. Hello there, Fionn. Nice for you to pop in. Mark's Mod says Dave Max Enterprise does look awesome. Yeah, and it's huge. It's 1/200 scale, isn't it? Fionn says tank is looking great, by the way. Thank you. Mark's Mod says hello, Fionn. Fionn says hi. Hi. The only thing about this aircraft carrier I bought, we can't find an upgrade set for it. find an upgrade. Not yet, I haven't found one yet. By looking at the actual reference pictures, she doesn't have that many railings on her. She has a few, but not that many. And it's a trumpeter kit, and there was no photo etch supplied in the kit, so it's a very, very early kit. Still got 17 in. Hope we've got plenty of thumbs up, guys, hopefully. That Necron build, I'll put it on the back burner for now. Till well after the new year. So I want to, after I finish the Graf Zeppelin, I want to get on with the HMS Dreadnought that I started. And then I've got that massive U-boat to build with Mr. Mark's mods. There's a buddy build. That's what I meant by some big projects coming up. Where do we get to? Panzer says hi Fionn. He also says hi Captain. Jeff Light says I've been on the USS Forrestal while she visited Portsmouth back in the past. Cool. Jeff Light says thanks for the heads up, Lindsay. Yeah, no worries, buddy. Although the 17100 is nice, personally myself, I'm waiting for the 1350. All I know is it's getting released sometime next year. That's all I know. Because everybody's been asking about it on the ship forums. And if we're lucky, we might get the Prince of Wales as well. Or they'll probably do a double kit where you can either build one or the other. Prince of Wales or the Queen Elizabeth. But I've seen the 1700 1350 Queen Elizabeth built. It's not bad at all, not bad. Not bad. No upgrade set for it at the moment, but yeah. I'm sure Pontos or Edward will jump on that bandwagon, no doubt. Right, I've put 3 coats on there so far, and I need to let that dry now. So, what are we doing for time? Oh, I've got another half hour yet. So, not sure whether I want these in this copper or go into gold. Really don't know. Where's the box? So let me get the box, it's here somewhere. Yeah, I think I need to change the colour on that and go in gold with that. I think. Because that copper is not really standing out. Okay. I'm going to try one of these new ones. It's brass. Oh, I've got a fresh pot of that. Because that is that colour in it. Silly boy, I didn't buy any. Which is left in there. There's a little bit. I have to do what I want. Okay. I think there is a little bit of slight difference in between them, Jeff. Not much. Jeff Light says hi Fionn. Static says nice. Panzer says for those interested, the Carmen MRP will finally be released next year. Cool. Jeff Light says hi Captain. I think there's a slight difference in the superstructures, to be honest, because they got two superstructures. One is for main operations, that's the front one, and the rear is for flight deck operations. That's what that rear superstructure is. That's for all the tactical stuff, and if they was ever to go to war. But that does all the flights, landings, and everything in that second superstructure on the back. That's so that it doesn't interfere with main operations of the actual ship. Jeff Light says hi Captain. Because some people were confused about why it had two superstructures. down to 10 viewers now. I know her engines are exactly the same. I was going to buy that HMS Royal Oak, but damn, that thing's expensive. Stands out a lot better, that does. Jeff Light says, hi Captain. Panzer says, I thought one leaks, the other doesn't. Actually, they both had leaks. Both of them. And it's all through the propulsion system. Something to do with the drive shaft's housing or something. The actual housing on the drive shaft cracked, which threw the drive shaft into an awkward position. Then she started getting vibrations, so they had to shut it down and just use one engine. It's a common flaw apparently. Happened in both ships, apparently. According to the documentary, it should have never have been passed, because that's what happened on her sea trials actually. She hadn't got that far out when it happened. It wasn't a hull breach or anything like that, it was just in the propulsion system on the drive shafts. There's like a big housing that sits there. Man, we have sunshine. We have sunshine. you nothing better here than dog. Panzer says, I mean, who builds supercarriers and make them oil-free powered? We do, apparently. Well, there you go. You see, this is what they call it, Scrooge. It's British government for you. Apple says we have sunshine as well, but it's still only 3C and feels like sub-zero. Jeff Light said Maggie has asked where the Prince of Wales. Where is it? They're both out on on deployment at the moment, both of them. Jeff Light says I can't remember. Because they've been out on exercises, haven't they? Jeff says, thanks, Lindsay. You're welcome, buddy. Yeah, I shall do an unboxing of that new aircraft carrier I've got. Not saying which one it is now, but yeah. Thank you everybody for sticking around. It's nice to see you all. Panzer says, I will give you a frightening statistic. In 2 years, both these carriers will be 10 years old and a third of the way through their life expectancy. That wouldn't surprise me, Panzer, to be honest. They're supposed to be making another carrier, aren't they? It's not been approved yet by the government for the money. They want to make a third carrier, but they want to go nuclear powered. That'll be interesting. Okay, so we've got a little bit of work done. Well, I'll just do these scrolls here. We'll get these done and then I don't think they've got the money and the means to do that, go nuclear powered, to be honest. I mean, let's face it, they can only just run those submarines they've got. That's better. I like that. I like that a lot. Good. Let's catch this chat up. Seemed to run away a bit. Just got to find where it was. Jeff Light says, I put Maggie's mind at rest as to where they will live when completed. David Markey says, afternoon Lindsay. Afternoon there, David Markey. I was asking about you. Panzer Cat says, they still leak and we still don't have the full F-35 complement for one of them. No, exactly. They normally use the American Air Force. Apple says all we need is a flat top for drones to be launched and recovered from. Well, there you go. Apple says all. Oh, I've said that. David Marcus says afternoon, folks. Pumps the Cat says hi, David M. Mark's Mod says hello, David. David Marcus says just got back from shopping. Jeff Light says hi, David M. David M says Panzer. Mark. Apple says M. How's the mincemeat pie stash? David Marcus says hello, Jeff and Maggie. Panzer says Lindsay was asking after you, David. David Marcus says Apple all gone. Jeff Light says the replacement for the F-35 is already on the drawing board. That's where it will stay and all. David Marcus says, oh, I am not barred yet then. Why should you be barred? David Marcus says, hello Fionn. Apple says, Panzer, I knew David M would scoff that stashed mincemeat darts. David Marcus says, hello William. Static says, Harrier is one of my favourite aircraft. Shame they went F-35. I used to like the Harriers as well. Especially the GR9. I used to love them. Okay. But then again, you've got to keep up with the rest of the world, haven't you? That's the problem. Let's just do these little bits. So keep finding things to do. You just got to keep up with the rest of the world, ain't you? But mind you, all that equipment will be entirely useless if somebody dropped a, what is it? One of those things that knocks out everything. EMP, that's it. EMP. Somebody drops one of them, everything's dead anyway. Aircraft will fall out of the sky. Everything will stop working. Because that's the first thing they'll do, is drop an EMP. Knock out everything. Now let's catch up with the chart first. David Markey says, hello Jeff. Apple says, like what the Yanks have done with the updated Warthog A10. That's a plane in itself, isn't it? Panzer Cat says EMP. David Markey says, hello Graham. Jeff says, drone fighter aircraft aren't far off. No, they're not. Okay, so we've done a little bit today. We've got 2 or 3 coats of this white on. It's probably going to need another 3 coats, and then I've got to tidy up the red. I've redone these scrolls in gold instead of it being the copper. I've left some copper on just to mix it up. I've just got to decide what I'm going to do with this part here yet. So that does go down. There we go. So just got to work out what to do with this part here, and also these statues I was on about last time, wasn't I? But all in all, it's starting to come on now. I think it's getting there. So yeah. I've also got all the lockbox. I've got everything in here to do as well. Yeah, the flamer exhaust, the bazooka type thing, locker boxes, the driver and side plates and all that kind of thing. So I've got all that to do as well. So there we go, guys. That's that one. David Markey says hello, Static. Brown Ball says hi, David. Static says keep up the good work. Yep, thank you very much. So we'll go back up cameras. So that's going to be it for this session today, guys. Thank you very, very much for coming in. It's much appreciated. Been held a steady quite a few people today. Hope there is lots of thumbs up out there. Hopefully. I can't see because I can't see how many there is at the moment. Jeff Light says coming together very nicely, Lindsay. Yeah, so I have put a video out this morning on the aircraft carrier, what I've done so far. If you want to take a look, be much appreciated, and just let me know what you think in the comments. Apple says, Roxy, time to wake up and take your sleeping pill. Yeah, she's a pain in the butt. Panzer Cat says 15 thumbs up. That's not bad. Not bad. So yeah. So say goodbye, guys. Thank you all for coming in. Like I always say, yeah, it's always much appreciated. And yeah, we'll see you soon. See you on the next one. So don't forget, there is no PPM this week. It's not till the 7th. So yeah. So we'll say goodbye, folks. See you all soon. Ta-da.